Hey guys, welcome back. So now that we have a basic understanding of Unity's editor, it's finally time to import the assets. So go to the folder where you have downloaded the assets. Open the Forest Ranger GB pack. Inside that you will find another folder called Forest Ranger 1. Open it, then go inside the Unity's package folder, a Unity package folder. And here you will see a Unity package with the Unity 6 icon. And double click on it. If you look closely, you'll notice that this package contains a lot of different things. It has sprites, animations, scripts, and also a prefab, and a few other files. But for this series, we don't need all of that. We are going to build everything ourselves so that you understand every part of the game. So instead of importing everything, click on None first to deselect all the files. Now only select the vector parts folder and import that. Then click Import. It will take a few seconds, and once it's done, you will see a new folder appear in the project window, vector part. Let's rename this folder to character, just to keep things organized. Now, if we open this folder, you will notice a lot of different body parts. You will see head, arms, legs, weapons, and many other sprites. You'll also notice one object with a blue icon. This blue icon is different from the normal game object icon. For now, don't worry about why it's blue. We'll understand that in just a minute. So if you drag this blue icon game object into the scene, you will see our character. Now this character comes already with a few things that we don't need. And if you look into the inspector of this game object, you will notice that it already has a script attached, which we will remove because we'll make our own scripts and attach to the game object. So let's remove it. You can right click on the component and choose remove component. So the next thing I want to do is remove the weapons and arms that comes with this character. So if you hold Alt and click on the small arrow next to the player object in the hierarchy, it will expand all the child objects at once. This is a very useful shortcut whenever you have a lot of child objects. Now you can see every body part that makes up this character. And let's remove the weapon object that we don't need right now. And then let's remove the arms. So now that the character is cleaned up, let's talk about the blue icon and let's finally understand what that means. So to explain this properly, let's create a simple example. I'll create a new empty game object and rename it as enemy. Now imagine this enemy is a goblin, and in real game we'll probably have a lots of goblins. So let's duplicate it a few times. You can press Ctrl D to duplicate it. Now imagine we have 50 goblins in our scene, and every goblin needs the same components. They all need to share the same script. They need to share the same collider. They need to share the same rigid body, and they all should behave exactly the same way. Now imagine we have to select every enemy one by one and adding components to them one by one. That will be a lot of work. And what if I want to change something later in the enemy? Like I want to change the move speed of this enemy or the collider shape. Then I have to reselect all the enemies and change them one by one. So that will be a lot of work, and that's why we have prefabs. So the blue icon you see in the project window, this is a prefab. So how can I make the prefab of this enemy? So first let's create a prefab folder in the project window. Let's right click and create a new folder and name it as prefabs. Now if you drag the enemy game object into this prefab folder, you can see the icon of this game object has turned into blue, and that's because this enemy game object has turned into a prefab. So a prefab is basically a reusable template. Now instead of creating goblins from scratch every time, we simply drag this prefab into the scene whenever we want another enemy. Now the objects we drag into the scene from the prefab, they are all called the prefab instances because they are all created from the prefab. Now you can have as many as goblins in the scene. So if I double click on the prefab of this enemy, it will open a prefab window for the enemy. Now if I edit something in this prefab and save it, like I can edit the color of this prefab and save it, you can see every instance of this prefab has changed the color. So that is what a blue icon is. It just tells visually that it's a prefab. And prefabs are one of the most important features in Unity. and we'll be using them everywhere in the series. So now that we have imported the character and also understand what prefabs are, in the next lecture we'll make this character come to life with code. We will take a deep dive into the player movement and also explore some of the maths behind it, like how a player or any object actually moves in the game. And as you can see, I'm trying to explain things as much as possible. So we will take our time in the next lecture while making the player move, because I don't want you to just copy the code. I want you to truly understand what's happening behind it. So let's meet in the next lecture.